phenomenal. So Steve's not here to hear that, but we'll report that for him.
You know, you need to be up by a mic. You need to be up by a microphone. Yeah, come on up by a microphone. Wonderful. For those of you online, I'm referring to Mr. Kenyon. Are you going to add to our Farm Bureau update? Want to tell us about planting or?
Will depend on my memory.
Okay.
While he's getting situated, I'll add one new thing they had, which was really neat, was they had plants available for children and families to add additional plantings to the pollinator garden. And they also included a map so that they could mark on their map of the state of Illinois, which is the shape of the garden, where they planted so that they could come back and visit. And I thought that was just a great way to engage them, not just at the event, but throughout the spring and summer. So now I'll turn it over to Mr. Kenyon since he's seated at a mic.
I know the Farm Bureau is busy trying to get their wish list done, and the way the state legislature works is they fool around for weeks. Then they wait till the last week and then they jam everything into it. And well, one of the ones they're trying to do is to upgrade the exemption for when people pass. Oh, look at that food. And Debbie Allen's, she's gonna have a food truck.
We now have, we're now corn.
And I can tell you from experience, when you have to sell part of the farm to pay your federal income tax, it's not really what we'd like. And last year my cousin died, but he was living in a different state. He was living in Arizona. They paid no tax because he got the Arizona tax. Illinois needs to upgrade some of that things. But hi.
Madam Chair Williams,
Yes.
the federal estate, or excuse me, the state estate tax for Illinois is anything over $4 million. So that's easily accomplished by people who have large holdings of land. So that needs to be increased.
They'd like to increase it to at least 6, but in my mind, the funny thing is there's a lot of people that aren't farmers that accumulate wealth. And it goes up exponentially, you know what I mean?
It's another reason people leave the state of Illinois is because they have a large estate and then they move to Florida. They don't have an estate tax down there. So
hey, Jim Oberweis.
just an observation from my practice.
Oh, yeah. But that's one always on their radar, and they're working on that constantly.
Okay. Anything, any questions, Ms. Allen?
Well, one of the ironies here is that we have the Farmland Protection Program as a way to protect what a farmer has. And I've heard that with the money that we pay for those development rights, that farmers frequently go and buy more farmland. So there's more productivity for children or grandchildren or for the farmer himself. So it's ironic. Here we are on one hand trying to help farmers increase their holdings, and then here they die and they lose them.
Well, that's Kane County. We're the only county that has done that in the state of Illinois. And we've made it work. I mean, the Flanders family can attest to that. And but the Mr. Flanders wanted that land to stay farm. And so that's what it's going to do. But Illinois is different from the state. I mean, Kane County is different from the state.
Okay, any more questions or comments? All right, we're going to move ahead to Meet Your Farmer series.
Madam Chair Williams, sorry.
Yes.
I would ask for unanimous consent to put to approve the minutes of
Oh.
March 20th.
We could do that. Are you putting forth that?
I'm asking for
All right.
unanimous
Anybody
consent.
disagree? Okay, thank you. Thank you for the housekeeping.
And then we officially can say that we approve remote attendance for,
Yeah, we pre-approved, so.
okay.
Okay, hello, everybody. My name is Alexis Barnes. I am the local food systems and small farms educator serving DuPage, Kane, and Kendall counties through University of Illinois Extension. It's been like 9 months since you've heard from me. I last time talked about the Master Urban Farmer Training Program, which is happening again this fall, but we'll save that for a July discussion. But I did want to talk about me and the series that I will be talking about today, just because I want to maximize some of our efforts here. So in my role, I really am a boots on the ground ag extension educator. Oh, that's so weird. Okay. Okay. But I really am a boots on the ground ag educator. And so my background is cut flower and vegetable production. I grew up in Bartlett. I've worked on several different vegetable farms, and now I'm here to do the Master Urban Farmer Training Program, as well as help our local farmers in our 3 counties. So I am mainly in Kane, just because we have a lot of specialty crop farmers and livestock farmers. But today I wanted to talk about my Meet Your Farmer series. So I wanted to enact this series because looking at Matt Tansley's needs assessments from, I believe, 2019 or 2021, there was an interest in growers that wanted to have a farm stroll series. And a farm stroll series is basically a large one-day event that is touring all sorts of farms, whether that's corn, soy, vegetable, livestock, cut flower farms. It's just one giant event, and it's a great way for consumers, eaters, other growers, gardeners, master gardeners to come out and tour. One of my colleagues in Extension holds this every year in McHenry County in the fall and has for the past 5 years, and it attracts thousands of people every year. While I'm not at the capacity to hold that this year, I'd like to compromise and hold the Meet Your Farmer series. So this would be a series held in May, June, July, and August throughout the growing season, so we can showcase what is really going on our farms in Kane County. So far, I do have one event scheduled in May. It's on May 18th from 10 to 12 in Wayne. It's on Barbic Farms. He actually held our tour for the Master Urban Farmer Training Program. And it's a really cool, neat little peri-urban farm. He's got a 1/2 acre in production, and he is actually expanding and having more livestock cuts in his CSA share to expand his market and his income, which is really cool. So I mainly wanted to show him in May so we can talk about the planting season so people can get some ideas about that. But I am looking for some growers for June, July, and August. I do have some in mind. Glory Gardens, Michelle DeRate, she donates everything to food pantries in Kane County, so I'd love to get more exposure to her nonprofit. I know me and Matt have discussed Klein's Quality Produce, Rustic Road Farms, Strom Family Farms. Yeah, so that's kind of what I have in mind for that. Are there any questions? I mainly just wanted to get it out that this is something that I'm holding.
Mr. Roth?
Can we do the Roth here? An email blast, Matt, to let everyone know about that one on the 18th. I would like to attend. That's in my district, so.
Okay, I was wondering about that for you,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
okay. I can do that. I can send you some details, Matt. We are working on marketing materials in Extension, so as soon as I get that out, I can send
Okay.
that.
Good enough. Thank you.
Any other questions? I just had 2 very quick comments.
Anybody? No? Anybody
Okay.
online? Because I can't see any hands.
I'm not seeing it.
No? Okay, thanks.
Okay, one super fun comment. My program was awarded $1,000 from the Illinois Vegetable Growers Association to conduct some research in Kane County at the old St. Charles Horticulture Research Station. So I am working with the university to get some research out there. I'm really leaning towards a zinnia cut flower and a muskmelon variety trial. I want to see if the zinnias can attract some natural enemies and beneficial insects to our area to help really manage those squash bug and cucumber beetle populations. That's a huge issue in Kane County, considering we're a pumpkin county and a cucurbit county. And Klein's Quality Produce was very vital in getting that funding to me. So I thank them profusely for that. And I'm super excited to work with them. And just a final comment, thank you to everybody that attended the 4-H pork chop dinner. We really do appreciate your support. And this not only helps 4-H, but it also helps my programs, SNAP-Ed, Nutrition and Wellness, and our Master Gardener programs. So that's all I had today. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll send you the details.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pretty exciting. I'm going to add something that's not on the agenda based on things that were said at a couple of the other board meetings. Esther, could you come up and just tell us about how many families you served in Kane County this year? We had a discussion about food insecurity, and I didn't have the exact numbers in front of me. So I put out, you did 78 million people you did last year, but I know that you deal with 16 counties. You can just guesstimate us. I know I'm putting you on the spot. I feel bad.
I didn't come prepared to talk today.
I'm
I was
sorry.
just observing. No, it's okay. Kane County, we serve about 70,000 individuals monthly average through our network of food pantries, about 25 food pantries. And then our direct distribution program. So that's our backpack program, our senior program, and our mobile markets, and our online food pantry, My Pantry Express. About 12 million meals last year in Kane County through those programs. Does that help?
Yeah, and you're noticing an uptick, correct?
We are. I mean, it's been kind of flat. I would say, you know, we went up a long way, flat for the last few months. But we expect, if possible, inflation and then reduction of SNAP benefits, if that kicks in, we will definitely see an uptick of 10 to 20%.
Okay, thank you.
Based on previous upticks, you know,
Okay.
of inflation and reduction in SNAP.
I didn't mean to put you on the
Oh, no.
spot. I just didn't know. I just didn't know how many people we served in Kane County.
Yeah.
So 70,000 every month it's a lot of hungry people.
Yeah.
So, okay, Miss Lewis, just my lips are stuck together. Sorry.
Anita Lewis, District 3, big supporter of the Illinois Food Bank Network. And lately I've been helping at Marie Wilkes' food pantry. My question for you is, do you think that the numbers at the food banks are going to go up in summer because the kids are home, so they're not getting their free and reduced meals? And I'm asking this as a food pantry person.
Yeah,
so-
we don't usually see a particular increase in summer. I think families struggle year round. So not particularly, but we encourage families obviously to use the food pantries and the other resources during summer when their kids aren't getting summer meals. And we're doing some additional summer family markets in Elgin over the summer. And also another thing particular to this summer is that we have a outreach campaign to families to apply for the summer EBT program, which is an addition to their link card. They can get, I think it's $40 a month for the 3 months for every child, school-age child. But there's a lot of families that don't know about that. So we are doing a lot of flyers. We've got magnets, and we're going to be doing a lot of social to make sure people take advantage of those benefits.
Can you get me a copy of that and I'll give it to our PIO and see if we can get it on King County Connects?
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Nope. Okay. I'm so sorry I put you on the spot. So sorry. All right. Is Austin here? Oh. Oh my God.
You want them a little closer?
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Turn the mic on if needed.
We're ready for the farmer weatherization rebate program.
Good morning, everyone. I just quickly wanted to run through a presentation of a program that I've been studying and working on for the past few weeks, mainly because it's related to farmers. But for today, I just wanted to run through the program and get any folks' feedback before I take this to the Energy and Environmental Committee next month. All right, the crux of it is simply that Kane County would be offering rebates to farmers to incentivize them to weatherize their homes. The total fund for this rebate program would be around $20,000. This would originate through the electric aggregation program, which about 3 years ago, if I remember correctly, the Energy and Environmental Committee designated the funds to that program to be used for energy efficiency improvements. So I saw that this program would fit under that idea. So to get a rebate from this program and for it to be focused with farmers, you either get $200 if you're just a farmer who lives in unincorporated Kane, or you get an additional, or you just get $400 if you're a farmer living in an unincorporated Kane, but you do not use NICOR for residential heating. From my understanding, there's some farmers that use propane to heat their homes. So we think we should offer an extra rebate to folks who do not have access to the NICOR rebates. It's not on this slide, but the reason for these values being between $200 and $400 is that we want to see it as a supplement to pair with the existing NICOR rebates to air sealing and attic insulation, as well as for folks to access the federal tax credit through the Inflation Reduction Act. This would be the 25C tax credit, where folks can get about 30% off their overall bill or up to $1,200 for weatherization rebates. And in total, if it was just for this Kane County rebate, the program would benefit between 50 to 100 farmers. All right, so what are the benefits of these two weatherization solutions that we're offering for air sealing and attic insulation? So a 2023 study done by the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy found that weatherization measures such as air sealing and attic insulation can reduce a home's energy usage between 12 to 18%. Mainly, these two solutions are really give you the best bang for your buck. So we're seeing this as these two to mainly promote for farmers to do. They can go beyond, of course, updating their windows or replacing doors or doing beyond that. These are just the two that we want to focus on. And the same thing, the EPA agrees with this sentiment as well from the ACEE with about around 15% reductions. So getting into some of the cost breakdown and the available rebates here, the Minnesota Center for Energy and Environment estimated that the upfront cost of doing air sealing and attic insulation in a home would be between $2,000 to $6,500. And then when I called and talked to qualified contractors who are already on NICOR's list to get that NICOR rebate, they estimated somewhere between $3,400 and about $6,000 for an average size home in Illinois, which is at 1,700 square feet. So you see below you here, the three rebates that would be offered. The Kane County rebates, again, the 200 is just for farmers living in unincorporated Kane. The extra 400 is for folks that do not have access to the NICOR rebates. NICOR offers two specific rebates here for air sealing and attic insulation. Air sealing gets $250 per home, and then attic insulation gets $400 per home. To get these rebates, of course, you have to use NICOR for residential heating. If you were going to get access to the attic insulation, you also have to pair it with the air sealing. So you have to do air sealing and attic insulation to get that $400 extra from the attic insulation. And additionally, also for NICOR, you have to use one of their qualified contractors. So if you go on NICOR's website and look up who you can contact, you essentially click on a link on their website and you put in the zip code that you live in, and they give you a list. Usually it's between 12 to 15 contractors that you can choose from, you can call, and then you have to go through the process then working with that contractor to get a quote and then choose if you want to fund this or not. It usually comes down to the contractor itself of what the cost would be. And then finally, also the Inflation Reduction Act, as I mentioned, the 25C tax credit offers 30% of qualified expenses or up to $1,200. The good thing with air sealing and attic insulation is that the $1,200 is fully covered just by doing those two. There are other more quirky things, such as if you wanted to put a heat pump into your home, you could get an additional $2,000 off in rebates, but I didn't want to bring that forward today as a focus. So let's do a little bit of a cost breakdown here for folks. If a Kane County farmer was able to just get the rebate from the county and did not have access to NICOR or the IRA, they could get between a 6% to a 13% reduction in their overall costs. And that's just for the Kane County rebate. If you paired it with NICOR, you could, again, this is the $250 for the air sealing and the $400 for the attic insulation, added on top to the $200 that you would get from us, then you could see between a 14% to a 28% reduction in the overall cost. If you do Kane County's rebate and then you have access to the 25C tax credit, then you could see even more benefits going from 23% all the way up to 36% in reductions. So that could go anywhere between $1,400 to $1,100 off your overall cost. And then the best one of all, if you could get all three of these paired together, then you can see as much as $2,050 cut off of your rebate, or $1,750. So anywhere between 34% or more than 50% of the overall cost would be cut. So that's the basic overall structure of this program. If folks have any comments or questions or any changes that might need to be made, for instance, if you want, for instance, the fund to be increased or the rebate amounts to be increased, I'm more than open to changing that. So any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What constitutes air sealing exactly?
Essentially like caulking the windows or putting sealants around. It's essentially a process to identify if there's areas around the home where air is leaking,
Okay.
and then addressing that leak.
Okay.
Any other questions? No, that's a good presentation. How are you getting that message out to people that it's available?
It could go a couple of ways. My main thought is to promote it through the Kane County Farmer
Okay,
as a main source. We could also go even further with more outreach efforts. It just really depends. I'm thinking that is the first part of getting it out to folks. And then if, say, we need to put up flyers and like community centers, that could be another route. But I would like to probably talk to the Kane County Farm Bureau more about best options to engage with farmers.
okay. Mr. Kenyon, do you have any suggestions on a good way to reach farmers with this program?
Well, through the Farm Bureau's paper, but farmers actually pay attention to social media. Well, if you get on that,
Okay.
it gets their attention, and money always talks.
Okay, thank you.
We're always looking to save money.
Okay, Mr. Williams?
I'm not sure you're going to have the answer to this question, but how much money is in the electrical aggregation fund?
At the moment, I believe the fund is above $500,000.
Ooh.
The contracted supplier that we have currently makes a civic contribution. And over time, that civic contribution's gone all the way up to $500,000.
Okay.
And when does this program start? Like, is it starting now?
This program right now, it has to go through the ED committee first
Oh,
and
okay.
get approved so we could
Got
essentially
it.
all approve for us to use the funds.
Got it.
And then we
Okay.
can go through the process of handing out rebates and doing the outreach.
Okay, wonderful. All right, any more questions, comments? Thank you. Sorry, I didn't see you there. I saw Jody sneak in, but
I'm good like that. I kind of
yeah, you really just like, okay. So that brings us to Matt Tansley for the Illinois Eats program and workshop recap that we couldn't have last month. So take it away, Matt.
Good morning. Thanks for waiting. So I wanted to give both a recap on an event that myself, Sarah E. Castro, and Ellen Camps attended back in February. This was an event hosted by U of I Extension and partners to promote the Illinois Eats program. This was a program that was initiated by the state. The concept was developed by U of I Extension, but it basically takes money from a USDA grant program that makes money available to the states. And the purpose is to purchase product within the state of Illinois, purchase it locally, and make it available to food pantries and organizations that are serving food insecure populations. So this is a program that started back in 2024, is currently set to continue through I believe the end of June of this year, there was funding that was looked at to continue the program beyond that, but that future funding is currently on hold right now. So it's kind of uncertain as to what the future of the program is going to be. Moving on here. So there were 15 lead agencies that were recruited through this program. So the lead agencies are responsible for applying for the funding, and they're located throughout the state of Illinois. And it's their responsibility to purchase product from farmers and then work with the service agencies to distribute that to pantries and other service organizations throughout the state. So the lead agencies were able to apply for between $150,000 and up to 2.5 million, but I believe the average was somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million received per agency. Under the design of the program, so the lead agencies had some discretion as to what price they could offer farmers for their products. So Extension created this price range for each product. And so it allowed the lead agencies to have some flexibility in negotiating. So depending on, the distance that farmers were traveling or the amount of, packaging that they would have to do for products. So they had some ability to kind of price that extra work into the price that they were receiving for their product. So there were 176 farms across the state that participated, and there were 883 sites that received product in 85 counties throughout the state. Okay. So these are just some highlights of the impact of the program within the county. So if we look at distribution across Kane County, there were 31 sites that received product. So these were primarily food pantries, included pantries like the Marie Wilkinson Food Pantry, the Aurora Interfaith Pantry, and then the total value of the food distributed was $550,000 in product that was purchased. And so that includes product that was purchased within and from farms outside of Kane County combined. Now there were four Kane County farms that were able to sell their product into this program. So that included Mighty Greens, Klein's Quality Produce, Batter Acres, and Sunny Oaks Farm. And so they received $364,000 for the product that they were able to sell into this program. So a pretty significant amount. So for the tour that we attended back in February, we were able to meet at the site of one of the lead agencies. So Rooted for Good is based in DeKalb County. And they're an organization that was formerly the DeKalb County Community Gardens, and they've undergone a bit of a transformation. And so now much of their focus is, sourcing product locally and making it available to pantries and other service organizations. So they were the primary lead agency that was purchasing product from farms in Kane County. And so they were able to distribute product throughout the network that they serve. And among their future plans, they're looking to establish a food hub. So that would be an additional opportunity for sourcing product and distributing food through their network in a more efficient and impactful way. And they are currently, or as of a few weeks ago, they were looking for additional product with the money that they still have available through the EATS program. So there's a combination of fruits, vegetables, meat and dairy products that they were looking for. at the time. And I would note that Heather Edwards, the executive director, is here today. So I assume if you have any specific questions about their work, she'd be happy to address those. And then to continue the tour that we were taking at this workshop event, we were able to visit the Salem Food Pantry, which was one of the food pantries that was a recipient site through this program. They were able to serve some 5,000 families in 2024 with the product that they received. And they were actually able to increase the amount of produce that they offered by 8 to 10 times over the previous year before they were receiving the Illinois Eats program product. So this just kind of represents how, you know, many of the food pantries that received this benefit were affected by it. And then the last site on the tour was a visit to Sunny Oaks Farm. The owner and founder, Mei Shao, has a really interesting story. So she worked for years as an architect with a very prestigious Chicago architecture firm. So she worked at a very high level and was managing $1 million accounts. And she just got to a point where she realized, you know, she just wasn't able to spend a lot of time with her family. And so she made a very transformative change and decided to start this mushroom farm near Burlington. And so she was able to sell her product into the program. And I can just kind of take a quick tour around her operation here. So she has about 10 grow houses set up on her farm. So it's only about 10 acres, but she has a pretty sizable production operation. And when you look at, I really didn't have much of an understanding of how mushrooms are grown. So she uses this growing medium. They're basically these tubes of material that include like sawdust and other organic material. So that's like the growing medium for mushrooms. So basically every grow house is just filled with this growing substrate that it's called, and they can actually be used 2 to 3 times before the production value, the production capability is exhausted. So it's just a really interesting system to watch. And then unfortunately, early in the summer of last year, one of her main barns was destroyed by fire. So she lost about $100,000 in equipment and production supplies. So the Illinois Eats program was really, really helpful to her to have that additional revenue and to have like another market for her product to be able to sell that. And this is just a view of some of her, how she packs some of her products. So she has mostly oyster, shiitake, and lion's mane mushrooms are her primary products. And then this is just a view. You can kind of see the cooler storage that she has on site, and this pretty much runs the length of another barn on her site. And then just a few other updates on the program. So there was $28.8 million was made available through this program. So that was beginning last year, and that's what's going to continue to be in effect through at least the end of June this year. So there's still about $12 million of funding that's available to be spent the last I checked. So these lead agencies are still out there looking for product and hopefully able to continue to supply the pantries that they're serving. And that's all I have. I'd be happy to take any questions. Yeah.
So, the update, this is going through June. Have we heard anything more about this continuing? Because as one of the recipients of the Ritz product, it is excellent. It's I mean, it's the most beautiful produce you've ever seen. And if we lose that, relationship, it's really, really bad for all these communities. And I'm not just talking about our pantry, but so many other ones. So I was just curious if you had more of an update.
So the last that I saw on U of I Extension's program page, there hasn't been any word that it's going to be extended beyond that additional funding will be available beyond June. There is some, it does sound like it might be possible that the time frame to use the existing funding might be extended, which would, obviously just make more of the growing season available to be, utilized for making that product available. But as of now, I'm not aware that any additional funding beyond the 28 million is going to be available.
So like the farmers, like the mushroom lady, which is really cool. They'll just lose that and, potentially lose this whole value stream for them? Or is there other things they'll be applying for? Or?
Well, I mean, they do have other, other markets that they're selling into, which is just, just the marketplace that every farmer has access to. But in terms of, this supply, there's not really a new program as of yet to sort of supplement what this is accomplishing.
Ms. Allen? Did you have a question before? You need to be right in front of your mic.
I remember an article about an agency in Indiana that created a food hub during COVID. And I'm wondering if the one that's being considered in DeKalb knows about that, whether it's a template or maybe just an additional resource. But the thing that was so cool about it was that by virtue of thinking through how food would be most available, what they did was they were able to do some of the production service for local farmers. So a farmer brings in apples or a farmer brings in vegetables or something, and they would be able to package that. I'm not saying it's like to Jewel standards, but be able to package that so it could be turned over to the public, which for the farmer was a real help because, she doesn't need an additional thing to try and make her product available. But here's a group doing it on a large enough scale to make it manageable and affordable. And then I believe what happened was it was successful enough that the farmers were able to calculate how much product they could produce and be paid for. So they had that as a continuing resource in their lives, which made their business more successful, which made the recipients more successful, which made the food hub more successful. It was just a win all the way around. So I will try and find that article and bring it and give it to Matt so it can be a resource. But I just wondered if anyone else had heard about this.
I haven't. Have you guys heard about it?
I'm not familiar. I could connect with you and you have a name. You have to learn more.
I think I can find it.
Okay.
Okay, great. Mr. Roth, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Let me get back to the presentation. I'm looking at the presentation. We currently only have 4 Kane County farms working with Rooted for Good, is what the presentation says. Is that correct?
Those were the farms that were participating through the program. I don't know if there are other, there might be
Okay.
relationships outside that, but
Oh, it's a huge opportunity, right? I mean, this is a nonprofit out of DeKalb, but they're looking to expand to other counties. Is my understanding of how this was presented, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly looking for every opportunity to,
Because we're always looking for more markets for our farmers, especially in niches.
right. And we did promote their purchasing interest on the Growing for Cane newsletter, which reaches a lot of our growers. So
And then in the presentation, they're planning for a regional food hub. Would that be in DeKalb or is it in Kane County or elsewhere?
I don't remember exactly where the
Sorry to put
the
you on the
site for
spot.
that is. Maybe Heather might have some additional detail on that for us.
We have the expert in the room, so
Okay.
we'll,
It's
you wanna introduce
today is
yourself
putting the
and-
visitor on the spot today.
Yes, I am on the spot. Again, my name is Heather Edwards and I'm the executive director for Rooted for Good. Our food hub that we are looking at building is the 8 acres is on Annie Glidden Road, just slightly north of NIU. And so that's right now it's just farmland. And so we are hoping to break ground in 2026, but it all depends on how funding goes. We have 3 different phases. The first phase, we have to raise $3 million. So the project is going to be around 10 million total. And then we have the ability to expand because it is a large piece of property that we have. As far as the farmers that we were working with, yes, it was 4 from King County. There were others that I did reach out to, and they declined to take part in the program. And then recently with the newsletter that went out, I was contacted by one farmer that was potentially interested in selling eggs to us, but they didn't have a current license for that they have to get through the state. So they were checking into that to see if it was doable, because obviously, yes, the program does end in June. The contract for the 14.7 million that the state had from June or July until June of 26 was terminated. The last call that we were on, and Hester was also on that call, there was discussion of potentially the state of Illinois, suing to see if they can try to get that contract right to continue.
So in addition to having to raise money to actually get the food hub, is there a way you could do like a public-private partnership to fill in the gap from this funding that seems to have been removed from us?
So you're saying funding to continue LFPA?
Right. I'm
Illinois
saying,
needs.
is there another alternative? Because this is such a valuable program. I just wonder if there was, I'm sure you've been thinking outside the box of what are we going to do?
Yes.
I just wondered if there was anything more than just like a pipe dream.
Correct. I mean, one thing also that wasn't mentioned, that we were paying retail prices for this project, or for the produce and the dairy, which is not sustainable for a food pantry. So we are, prior to this grant, our organization, we were working with several farmers, and we were paying wholesale prices. We do have some funding still this year. We will continue, but it is nothing in comparison to the 1.5 million that we had received. So we are not going to be able to work with, and also the funding that we have is just for the organization. We were serving all of the food pantries in DeKalb County, and then Marie Wilkinson and Aurora Interfaith here in King County. So, there was a lot of organizations that received the benefit of this particular grant. And then, I don't want to speak on behalf, but I mean, for the Northern Illinois Food Bank, they were filling in the gaps then to the other food pantries in King County.
Wow, thank you. Any more questions? Thank you for letting us put you on the spot. Right, we have anything else? All right, it's going to bring us to 8 new business, which is a proclamation recognizing Steve Pitstick as the greatest farmer in the world, is what we discovered at the Touch a Farm, Touch a Tractor event.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, it's under new business, so I don't know.
Do we have
take
to
a
read it
motion and
twice?
No, I think we're just gonna read it, have a consensus to have it go forward, because we can't vote
Okay.
it to go forward, and then just
Okay,
run
that's
through
fine.
that. Right. Okay, well, do you want to read it, Bill?
I can.
Oh.
Is it online?
You need a second.
I don't think so because it's new business. Rick's not helping. Rick, do we need a second if it's new business?
The only time you need a second reading if it's an.
No, a
ordinance-
second, like a motion and then a second.
We're sending it on, so we do need a second.
Roth was still motioning.
Technically send it on because it's new business. So I'm going to ask the chair to use her authority to place it on the agenda. It should have shown up as a resolution or a proclamation and it didn't. I didn't catch it.
I,
We're gonna wing it.
why don't we send it on? If we can't, we'll
Right.
ask the state's attorney
Yeah,
afterwards.
we'll get it. We'll get it where it needs to be. Okay, so if we need a second, we have Ms. Allen.
Okay.
If we don't need a second, it's fine. All right, Mr. Roth, would you read Steve's
Yes, it's on
World's
page,
Greatest Farmer?
it's page 33, if anyone wants to follow along of the agenda. A 2025 proclamation recognizing Steve Pitstick as a Master Farmer Award recipient. Whereas the Master Farmer Award was introduced 100 years ago in 1925 by Prairie Farmer Magazine to honor Illinois farmers who exhibit excellence in agricultural production, strong commitment to family, and exceptional service to their community. And whereas farmers and agricultural leaders and agricultural extension specialists throughout the state nominate candidates for this award to recognize Illinois farmers beyond their farming skills. And whereas Steve Pitstick of Maple Park, Illinois, was nominated by the Illinois Soybean Association. And whereas Mr. Pitstick currently raises corn and soybeans with his son on his Kane County farm and serves as an advisor to agricultural technology companies. And whereas Mr. Pitstick graduated from Illinois Ag Leadership Program, served as chair of the Illinois Soybean Association, and participated in the Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation and Agriculture Leaders of Tomorrow, served as a soy ambassador and Kane County Farmland Protection Commissioner, and has played a key role in developing the Kane County Economic Development Corporation. And whereas Pitstick became the third Kane County farmer to win the Master Farmer Award, the other two being Eldon Gould in 1982 and our own Mr. Mike Kenyon in 2014. And whereas Kane County continues to support agriculture as a cornerstone of the economy, cultural heritage, and essential food resource for both the local and global communities. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Kane County Board does hereby recognize Steve Pitstick for his extraordinary contribution to farming, his family, and his community, and congratulates him on his 2024 Master Farmer Award.
I know I was kidding about him being the greatest farmer, but he is such a Renaissance man, and his work with the development committee. This is an honor. I think that we're lucky to, and thank you to Mr. Kenyon for having me read the Prairie Farmer magazine and telling me about this, because this is truly an honor for Kane County, and we're very, very lucky that we've had three, and that of the three, they're all really still active. So any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
State's Attorney John Frank's on, if we want to ask him that question about the procedures of this.
Cool. Mr. Frank,
Yep.
so this showed up as a new business. We did take a motion to move and a second, but I wasn't sure if, because it showed up as new business, we were technically allowed to send it forward, but it was agenda'd and noticed.
Yeah, as long as it's
So-
agenda to notice, you've
Okay.
complied with OMA, so you can move it forward.
We can move it forward. Okay, thank you. All right. Any more questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Williams. Okay, well, just because I messed this up, can we just do a voice vote? Or I mean, a roll call vote? Because I want to make sure Okay, thank you.
Ellen,
Alan, I.
Penesis,
Genesis, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Dewey.
Shuby, yes. Thank you. Do we have a motion to place the reports on file?
Roth would request a unanimous consent to put the reports on file.
Any objections? No? All right, we have no need for executive session.
And
So, what?
Roth will make a motion for adjournment.
Well, maybe I wasn't ready for that.
Well, there's nothing else
So
after
we took it
executive.
off for 5 minutes. Now I might just have to do that.
I would love for you to do whatever you would like to do.
I'd like to have a motion for adjournment. So you're motioning for adjournment. All in favor?
I'll second it.
Second? Oh, that would be good. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, thank